Aren't live streams just grand? Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Cam. It is Wednesday. You all know what that means. It is time for another edition of Life in the Movies podcast, and it is time for the November 2023 preview. This is a particularly loaded month, it looks like. We've got a lot to discuss. But first, I have to introduce my co-host, as always, Jacob Martin. Jacob, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing a lot better. Last week I had my eye surgery. Recovery is going very well for the most part. Got still a little bit of irritation, but things are getting better on that end. Ryan, did you survive the nightmare of confused Matthew last week?
I feel more bad for you because, after eye surgery, the first thing that we end up doing is watching that piece of crap Confused Matthew review of The Nightmare Before Christmas, where he totally just misunderstands the whole point of that movie and literally has to be spoon-fed everything. But that's neither here nor there. A bit of a side story. I was talking to our mutual friend Jacob Collins from 3D Movie Cinema. I imagine he is either watching or is going to be in the chat very soon. But he actually wanted me to reach out to Confused Matthew to get an interview with him. I'm like, number one, I have no idea if he's even still on YouTube. Number two, the fact that we kind of roasted him, I'm not even sure if he's going to want to talk to us, even if he knows our existence.
Yeah. I don't. As far as I know, I don't think he's on YouTube anymore. But that would be so wild if he was watching his stream.
One thing that I'm sorry.
I don't know what's more of a nightmare, going through that piece of crap review or having to fight the copyright bots who took it down a day later and having to work on that. But it's all good now.
Well, say his name, he will arrive. Well, look who it is. It's the great Jacob Martin and unfortunately Ryan. Yeah, I'll be seeing you tomorrow, Jacob, and I will be having words. Not you, Jacob Martin, the other. I have to get my Jacob stripped.
You got bad blood. You be bad blood.
But if it is still on Jacob's channel, go give him a subscribe there and go watch that. I had a great time with Jacob Martin.
I had to do some minor trims, but we're good now. You can watch the replay.
And also Henry Mockingbird joined us as well. Henry Mockingbird put up a video on his channel of all of us coming together to react to the re-review. I'm like, I barely survived the first one. I don't know, but it'll be for good comedy, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
But Jacob Martin's channel is linked in the description. Go give him a subscribe. Ryan, being in the video made a copyright claim since Disney didn't want Ryan anywhere near their project. Shut up, you. But anyway, Jacob, I'm glad your eye surgery went well. Specifically, what was wrong with it? If you'd like to get into that.
My right eye was very lazy. It kept veering off to the side. And then my left eye was about to go that way if I didn't have it fixed. And so they decided that they realigned both of my eyes, and I think they took some muscles out of it, fixed it up, and did what they needed to do.
Did they have to put you under?
Yeah, because I get all finicky when they do stuff like that if I'm awake. So yeah, I felt a lot comfortable with them doing the anesthesia.
Well, I'm glad you made it out okay. It looks like everything went well? ?
Yeah, I would say so. I don't think I've 100% fully recovered. There's still, like I said, some irritation in my eyes, but as a whole, I think things are doing better.
Well, that's good to hear. So, with that in mind, because of the surgery, there was no episode last week, and because of that also, Jacob was not able to watch the Defenders episode, Defenders season, or not season 7, episode 7, for very obvious reasons. So we will pick that up next week, and we'll just jump into the November 2023 preview. But before we do that, if you are watching the stream, hit that like button. The live chat is open. If you'd like to ask us questions or talk about the movies we're going to be talking about, we're going to be doing the same sort of formula we did last month for October. We're only going to be covering the important ones. And thankfully or not so thankfully, there is a lot to unpack in the month of November. Here's Jacob again. I'm really excited about Napoleon, and me and Ryan really want to interview Confused Matthew just to ask him what his favorite movies of all time, or we are just so intrigued to know. I'm legit intrigued to know. If I were to get Matthew like onto my channel, like I would legit ask him, what are your favorite movies of all time? He's gonna say something wild like The Room or something. Like he's gonna unironically love The Room.
I could see him being like that Armand White guy who just like trolled everybody on what the best movies and what the worst movies are.
All right, the View with Drew is here. Hello, Drew. Good evening. How you doing?
Hey,
So,
Drew.
yeah, we'll confuse Matthew aside. Let's get into the November 2023 movies. And again, we won't be covering every November release. We are just going to be covering the ones of pretty big importance. And let's just get into this first one because it the MCU has been a quite. I mean, it's always kind of at the forefront of the discourse, just because. But this particular month is going to be it's going to be excuse me. It's going to be rather interesting to go back to this particular part of the MCU. On November 10th, we are going to be getting the sequel to Captain Marvel known as The Marvels. Carol Danvers gets her powers entangled with those of Kamala Khan and Monica Rambeau, forcing them to work together to save the universe. So, before we went live a little earlier today, this afternoon, there was an article released by Vanity Fair. Leo Rydell over at the channel Geekly Goods did a pretty good stream uh, dissecting the article and talking about it. But to make a long story short, there was a meeting with Kevin Feige and everyone involved in the MCU, basically having a big old powwow about where they're going and what they're doing. And among other things, there is rumors that there's going to be a new Avengers movie with the Legacy Avengers. So, like the original 6 from the 2012. Now, this is all just speculation, so this is neither confirmed nor denied. But with this information, this meeting happening, and the Marvels tracking to make between $75 and $85 million on opening weekend, the alarm bells are a ringing. Jacob, what about it?
Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts on that. First off, the that Avengers movie that might happen with the original cast, I don't particularly think that's a smart way to go because I think you're just milking what you've already done. And two, if you bring back people like Scarlett Johansson, Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., who had great concluding arcs, and especially in Avengers Endgame, that would undo such a great movie. You could do a smart way of integrating it, like maybe let's say different variants of these characters showed up in like Avengers Secret Wars. I would have no problem with that. But if it's Tony Stark comes back from the dead through magic, like, that would undo what made Endgame such a great movie, and I can't really be on board with that.
Yeah, Drew's back. Out of all the movies coming out in November, Napoleon is the one I'm looking forward to the most. Well, we will cross the Napoleon Bridge when we get there. But Jacob, I'm sorry if I interrupted you. Were you?
Yeah,
Saying
I finished that part. What I was gonna say.
All right. Well, yeah, I
At least
absolutely agree.
at
I
least on
absolutely,
that part.
yeah. Well, I absolutely agree with everything you're saying. You know, I didn't dislike Captain Marvel, but I didn't love it either. Everyone was making like such a big noise about it and just all the various sides that if you didn't like the movie, you were a sexist. If you liked it, you were just like a cartoon feminist. I just wanted to just duck under the table and just wanted to wait for the whole thing to blow over. When I finally saw it, I was like, it's okay. I mean, it had some good parts, but just, I mean, I don't know. It's certainly bottom tier, but not the worst. Like I've seen like worse movies out there. Jacob's back. Last one from me, but Thanksgiving I will be taking my aunt to see, and Ryan will be watching on Jacob's channel Thanksgiving this year. No,
That's an
just
actual line in the movie, by the way.
I have no doubt of that whatsoever. But yeah, where was I going with
You
this?
were talking about Captain Marvel.
Oh, that's correct. Yeah, Captain Marvel. I didn't hate, like I said, period at the end of that particular sentence. I didn't hate the movie, but I didn't love it either. I have not seen Miss Marvel. I know, Jacob, you have seen it. You have recommended it. I believe you liked that.
Yeah,
Am I
I
correct?
liked Miss Marvel. I thought it. I mean, it wasn't a great show by any means, but I did like the lead character, and I liked her origin story for the most part.
And so I don't know, just the Marvels coming out and just with all of this knowledge in mind, it's like they were just like asking for the movie to fail almost. And like if a movie made 75 and 85 million on opening weekend, like that would be in a normal sense, that'd be fantastic. But consider the fact that the MCU have had opening weekends in the eight figure, not the eight, but in the in like the $100 million range. So like they've had stellar opening weekends. So like 15, 20 years into their, not 20, but they started in 2008.
2008.
So I'm bad at math, y'all. Can you tell? 15 years. So 15 years. They should not still be opening with like openings at like 75 million,
Yeah,
especially with a movie like this. And budgeted wise, it is among the more conservative, but still, like it just there's almost no excuse for that. Henry Mockingbird is here. Henry, good evening, my
no,
friend. I keep about people saying that Marvel's is going to flop. Yeah, unfortunately, it looks that way. And
yeah. I don't have a real issue with Captain Marvel as a character. Like her movie was fine. Like Brie Larson, I thought was good in the role, but the movie didn't really stand out to me compared to the other Marvel movies. The sad thing is, though, I want to see more of her character. I want to see what more they can do with her to show people that Brie Larson is great in this role. She's won an Oscar for crying out loud.
yeah,
Take advantage of her talents. And so far, we haven't seen that with how much she's played the character so far. I thought the trailers for the movie looked fun. I like the fact that you're having, especially Miss Marvel alongside with her, because like I said, I do like that character. I want to see like the camaraderie with that. And then you got the Monica Rambeau character, who we saw last in WandaVision, and to seeing those three ladies together, I hope make for a good dynamic. My only concern is the report that was revealed today, where they were talking about how apparently even Marvel doesn't know what to do with the movie, and they underwent like 4 months of reshoots, and supposedly the director is not that involved in post production and is working on a different movie while the other movie, the Marvel, is in post production. Uh, yeah, that is not an encouraging sign. Like that sounds like something out of what DC did with the 2016 Suicide Squad and Justice League. So I don't know if the quality of the film will actually be good or not. Obviously, being a Marvel fan, I hope for the best. I hope it's at least entertaining to watch, but I don't. But I'm not. I'm not sure with all the things that are against it, I can see this breaking a lot of people's trust against Marvel, depending on how bad this movie is going to be.
See, I feel like the Marvels is going to get blamed for something that is just blatantly a symptom and not the cause, if that makes any sense at
Yeah,
all.
I can see like the worst corners of the internet, like accusing it of promoting some agenda that's not really in the movie. Like they'll say like that stupid woke word and say, "Oh, we don't need these women ruining our movies," and they'll say that's the problem. When honestly, the real problem is Marvel itself. They don't know what they're doing with their characters or their storytelling, and they're not trusting their filmmakers. If the reports on this movie is true.
Yeah, and I like to pride myself on like viewing like both sides of it and trying to use like understanding where both are coming from and trying to form an opinion of my own. So like I watch like Critical Drinker and other channels of that ilk, not because I out like agree with everything that those channels say. I don't. I stress that they make good points, but I disagree more than I agree. But the more that the Marvels has like been seen, I have to begrudgingly admit that this just does not really look that stellar. But I am holding out hope that I am proven wrong. The movie's coming out in literally like not this weekend, but next weekend, so we will not have long to wait. But any of you watching, are you excited for the Marvels or are you not excited for the Marvels? It's not clickbait or anything. I genuinely want to know. So comment in the live chat, or if you're watching in the replay, comment below. Love to read what you have to say. Henry commented a few more things. The movie I'm looking forward to is Wish. We will be getting to Wish in just a few minutes. I know Confused Matthew and his brothers reacted to YMS's reaction to his Lion King review, so who knows? He might react to our reaction. Oh well, that would be interesting if that happened.
Yeah, I'm really curious about that one if that was the case.
But you know, Jacob, we've got a Five Nights at Freddy's movie out in theaters, so to guess to kind of keep up with the early to mid 2010s references, we got a Hunger Games movie coming to theaters in The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Coriolanus Snow mentors and develops feelings for the female District 12 tribute during the 10th Hunger Games. So, Jacob, we haven't really talked about the Hunger Games a lot, you and I. Were you a fan of the books or the movies, or not at all?
Well, I actually read all the books. I was obsessed with the books. I thought they were all fantastic reads. I remember, I think I was recovering from a leg injury one summer, and I heard about the Hunger Games. And while I was recovering from the injury, I think I read the first book, and it might have been that entire day. It might have been 1 or 2 days. It was one of my quickest reads ever because I was so invested in that book. And I was excited for the movie because I was just so enthralled by like the world building and the premise. I thought it was very intriguing. And to be honest, I did not care for the movie. I thought the movie kind of sucked. Nothing against Jennifer Lawrence. I thought she was a great Katniss. There's some good performances in there, but the filmmaking in that first movie, especially, was absolutely terrible. Like they dumbed down. I felt like the premise of the Hunger Games to secure a PG-13 rating. The shaky cam was obnoxious, and I thought they didn't do a good job at handling the brutality of its premise. Catching Fire, I thought was fine. That's the best Hunger Games movie. I thought they did a better job at handling the storyline in that film, and they had a better director who could handle action. I didn't like that they split Mockingjay into two films, and that was a big disappointment. So, as much as I love the books, I was not that big on the movies. And going into this new film, for one, I didn't realize they wrote another book since then. Uh,
I didn't either.
Ballad of Songbird and Snakes. So props to the writer for, I guess, wanting to do something else in this world. I'm sure the book is great. As for a movie, I'm like, I don't really care to watch another Hunger Games movie. I wasn't a fan of the movie versions we've got so far, so seeing another ad for a Hunger Games movie where it just kind of looks more the same to me, it's not really sticking out. And also, I've hardly seen any marketing for this movie, so I like. Are people actually excited to see this movie? I honestly don't know.
Well, Henry's chiming in. I've never seen either Hunger Games or read the Hunger Games books. I do is the existence of the prequel because I saw the trailer and Rachel Zegler is going to be in it. Yeah,
Oh yeah, the infamous Rachel Ziegler.
The Snow White super fan.
Nothing against her personally.
No.
I think she's a terrific actress. I loved her in West Side Story, the Steven
Hmm.
Spielberg one, and I'm sure she'll do good in this movie. And to give this film credit, it's got a promising cast. Like Viola Davis is in it, and Peter Dinklage is in it. So you got some talented people involved. But I don't have any real interest in seeing this.
I think my biggest problem with this is the fact that they're trying to humanize Snow, and I was just like, Snow is very blatantly like the big villain of the main Hunger Games story. Like he is basically a dictator, and like I don't need to know that he had like a forbidden love. Like no, I don't need to see that. Don't try to humanize like villains because you need content because the Hunger Games books made a lot of money. It's like so the existence of this movie just genuinely confuses me. Jason, the old millennial, is here. I'm kind of over the Hunger Games. The last movie wasn't that good. Yeah, the thing about Mockingjay was that it was a symptom of the environment because I was old enough to remember when Harry Potter, that last movie, got split in two. Did not need to happen, and I enjoy both part one and part two for different reasons. But if they just smooshed that into really one long movie, it would have been fine. I mean, I was a big Potterhead in that era. I would have sat through a 2.5 hour Deathly Hallows movie. It would have been fine. But no, it was cut into two parts because just every movie back then was cut into two parts. Twilight did it, Hunger Games did it. I'm sure there are other examples that I'm missing at the moment. But yeah, this feels too little too late. Like the
Yeah, and
last
that's
Hunger Games book, I can't remember when it came out, but it was not that long ago.
yeah. That leads to my next point. I mean, the Hunger Games, the last film came out was like 2015.
Yeah.
There's not been that much huge excitement for the Hunger Games since then. Like it was popular for that period of time, but now people think the Hunger Games. It's like, like this is like too little, too late. I feel like it just seems like what a lot of movie studios are like. I'm like, okay, this franchise is dormant. What's a good way we can resurrect something? Oh,
Prequel.
okay, let's do a prequel and tell a story that didn't really need answering. But
Yeah. I don't
yeah,
know
we
if they
definitely
needed
did not need three Hobbit movies. That was
I agree.
definitely a victim of that curse too.
And I don't hate the Hobbit movies. I honestly don't, but it did not need to be a trilogy.
Yeah, two was stretching it as well. Like the original plan was two. I mean, that could have worked because you could do it to fill in some of the gaps to connect with Lord of the Rings, but no, that WB, they're like, no, Peter Jackson, we want money, we want money, we want profits. Make a trilogy. Lord of the Rings was a trilogy. Make the Hobbit a trilogy, dummy.
In the words of that mustache guy from the Tom and Jerry movie, we've got to have money. But but yeah, you know, I feel like, and it also doesn't help things. Jacob, I don't know if you caught this. The movie's runtime is 2 hours 45 minutes.
Oh wow, that's the.
With 20 minutes of trailers, you're looking at being in that theater for 3 human hours.
I don't think the other Hunger Games movies were that long though. They were what?
Hang on, let me do a little bit of live market research. So the first Hunger Games movie, that runtime was 2 hours 22.
Okay,
Catching Fire,
that's reasonable.
2 hours 26.
That's
So
for Catching Fire. So
sim-
they were probably about 2.5.
so Mockingjay Part 1 was 2 hours 3, so that was pretty short, and
A
then
little bit
Part 2 was
quicker.
2 hours 17. So all those movies were about like 2 hours 15, 2 hours 30 at the most. This is 2 hours 45, and I was exhausted just reading that.
Yeah.
So, and I've seen Killers of the Flower Moon, and I can justify a movie's runtime like that. But like one about Coriolanus Snow, like Donald Sutherland's character from the main movies, falling in love with a woman who we will never see again because I guess he was sad. I don't freaking know. It just
I'm, I mean, I am. I will say, I am kind of curious about how he this led him to becoming President Snow. Maybe if that's done well, but then again, I've seen prequels where they botch stories like that. So yeah, this could either make or break the Hunger Games franchise. And I honestly, and I'm not really one that cares about the franchise, and I'm not in a huge rush to go out and see it.
yeah. Henry's back. My hot take: I like the first Hobbit movie. I like the
Oh,
first Hobbit movie
I
too.
like the first Hobbit movie too. Like that was the best of three. That one is the one that didn't feel bloated and stretched out and padded out.
Yeah. Ryan, you need to hire a research team. I am the research team. Like this is the research team. My iPad. But I'll certainly look into that. But I'm almost at 400 subscribers, so maybe I need to hire an editor or something.
Yeah.
But if any of you are interested in Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, comment in the live chat. Love to hear what you have to say about that. But let's move on to a movie, Jacob, that considering we host a podcast called Discussing DreamWorks over on your channel, I feel like we're going to have to see this movie eventually, but it is coming out in the month of November. It is Trolls Band Together.
Okay.
Poppy discovers that Branch was once part of the boy band Brozone, that name, and with his brothers Floyd, John Dory, spelled John space Dory, Spruce, and Clay. When Floyd is kidnapped, Branch and Poppy embark on a journey to reunite his two other brothers and rescue Floyd. So I'm old enough to remember when like the Trolls World Tour movie. This was when everything was shut down due to COVID. Like this was going to be like the make or break movie. Like theaters were going to like survive or die based on the performance of Trolls World 2 on streaming. Theaters are still open for now, so it is what it is there. So so Trolls Band Together. What about it?
All right. Well, the first Trolls is a guilty pleasure. I'm not gonna lie. Like I enjoy like the creativity of the animation. I like the idea, like the world building of like these trolls being like these musical trolls. I do like the soundtrack awfully well. Yeah, the story's very generic, kind of cookie cutter. Characters are basic, and there's some cringe humor. But I liked what they were trying to go for with the story, and I really like the message of the first movie. And like I said, I do really like the soundtrack. I'm not gonna lie, I actually was into Justin Timberlake's "Can't Stop the Feeling" that year. I know it's an overplayed song, but
Yeah.
I have a fun time with that one. Wasn't as big a fan of Trolls World Tour. Like I enjoyed like the expanded world building, but I didn't think the story or the soundtrack was as memorable. With a third Trolls movie, I mean, I'm kind of indifferent on it. If anything, I like that the movie got in sync to come back together to record a new song for the first time in what 20 years. So gotta
Mhm.
give the movie credit that. And I've heard the new song they have, "Better Place." It's a catchy little song, but
I mean,
I
it's
don't
in
know.
sync.
Hmm?
It's in sync, so of course.
Yeah, but I don't know. I can take it or leave it on another Trolls movie. I mean, it looks decent enough. I've seen like in one of the trailers. I think they're trying to experiment with different animation styles. Like they do like this psychedelic 2D animated scene that resembles the Beatles' Yellow Submarine. So I'm a fan of that movie. So I kind of want to see how they do that in the Trolls movie. But like I'm not in a real big rush again to see Trolls World Tour. I know Henry Mockingbird is looking forward to the new Trolls movie. I think that first movie is like his favorite DreamWorks movie, if I'm not mistaken.
Speaking of, he said, I know the Fantastic Beasts movies broke the Harry Potter franchise. Yeah, talk about movies
Yeah,
that did not need to be a thing.
yeah. I can defend some aspects of those movies, but what hurt them was they were planning to do like 5 movies, and then you get to that second film, I'm like, they were stretching this out way too thin.
Yeah,
J.K.
and like,
Rowling, you're a good writer, but you're a terrible screenwriter. You're a great book writer, though.
yeah, she's at least got that going for her. Epitastic Joshua, hello Joshua, how you doing, my friend? I'm looking forward to the Marvels and the Killer. Yeah, the Killer's coming out
Yeah,
this
I think
month
we
as
we
well.
covered that in October, I think. But
It was coming into select theaters in
yeah,
October, so that's why it was lumped into here. And speaking of, Henry, boo, Trolls 3, who on God's green earth wanted Trolls to be a trilogy? DreamWorks, that's who. And Jason, Trolls 2 capitalize on the COVID shutdown. Oh, that's for sure. That is
yeah.
definitely for sure. But I don't have really much to say on Trolls Band Together. I think for the age demographic they're going for, it's going to work. But overall, I'm not sure how I feel. Like it just I feel like I might see it, but at the same time it's like yeah, I don't know, may not be for me, but I feel like cuz considering that you and I host discussing DreamWorks, I'm going to have to see it eventually. So so waiting on that. But let's move on to someone who despite Thor Love and Thunder is one of the best directors working today, Taika Waititi. His next film is coming out this month. Next Goal Wins, the story of the infamously terrible American Samoa soccer team known for a brutal 2001 FIFA match they lost 31 to nothing. So, yeah, Thor and Thunder was just a wet fart in a church. It was just terrible.
I
And
love that
look,
analogy.
And look, it's not the worst, but when you've got screaming goats, a hammer and an axe and a Norse god in a love triangle, and Christian Bale trying to make something work out of it and nearly breaking his back in the process, I'm sorry, I can't shut up about the fact that this movie is just not good. But
That's
that does not change the fact that Taika Waititi is usually very good at what he does. Jojo Rabbit, What We Do in the Shadows, Hunt for the Wilder People, Thor Ragnarok. So Taika Waititi is a very good director. He just directed one bad movie. It's not a complete career killer, in my opinion. From the trailers of what I've seen for Next Goal Wins, this honestly looks pretty fun. It's got Michael Fassbender in it. It's got let's see who else. Uh, He's
Will
got
Arnett.
Will
I know he's
Arnett
in.
in it as well. So and it's a story that when I was reading it, I was like, this sounds fantastic. It's kind of like a Cool Runnings or a Mighty Ducks kind of thing, but for adults. So Jacob, what do you think?
Yeah, like you said, Thor: Love and Thunder was a bit of a letdown. You forgot to mention they try to do a story where cancer is a big part of the storyline,
Oh,
and
that's true.
with a god causing genocide. But then you got, like you said, the screaming goats and Russell Crowe doing a fake Mario accent as Zeus, and like, what are you doing? But yeah, uh, but I do like Taika Waititi's other movies. I don't think Taika Waititi is a fluke because he made one lackluster movie. Because
Yeah.
Jojo Rabbit was a good movie. Thor Ragnarok is still the best Thor movie.
Mm-hmm.
Hunt for the Wilder People is hilarious. He
Mm-hmm.
directed the season 1 finale of The Mandalorian. Did a great
Yeah.
job there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Taika Waititi has a very good track record, and for the most part, I enjoy his brand of humor. I think this looks like a return to form, personally. Like you said, I think Cool Runnings is a good comparison. I think it's going to have heart. It's going to have the zany Taika Waititi humor. and a great cast to back it up. I think this one is going to be the film that makes people realize, oh yeah, Taika Waititi was good all along. Directors do have one fluke bad lackluster movie from time to time, but that doesn't negate the other great movies he has done.
Yeah, because lest we forget, Steven Spielberg, one of the greatest of all time, he directed 1941.
Oh, that movie's terrible.
So lest we forget that every director has that one movie where they're like, probably like they either needed the money or they needed to pay rent for that month. But
Yeah,
but Thor: Love and Thunder notwithstanding, Taika Waititi is very good at what he does, and I am looking forward to next goal wins. But let's move on now to something for Turkey Day, Thanksgiving. After a Black Friday riot ends in tragedy, a mysterious Thanksgiving inspired killer terrorizes Plymouth, Massachusetts, the birthplace of the infamous holiday. So this was directed by Eli Roth. If and Jacob, I believe you were mentioning this to me at some point. I believe this is based on a fake trailer that he did for Tropic Thunder.
I don't think it was Tropic Thunder. I think it was a fake trailer that he did for the
Grind
Grindhouse movie, which
Grindhouse.
was the mix of Robert Rodriguez's Planet Terror and Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof. When there was the double bill version, I've not seen the Grindhouse version. I've only seen Death Proof by itself. But apparently, in the Grindhouse movie, there's some fake trailers for movies that were meant to be a joke. But I think the Thanksgiving one was one of them, and I think Eli Roth, I think, might have directed that trailer. I'm not sure, and so he's finally releasing that as an actual movie. Which, to be honest, I saw the trailer, and it looked kind of fun. I I'm surprised. Well, we have there's bad holiday horror movies like Thanksgiving. But this
Hmm.
one, you got the professionalism, you got the budget, you got the actors, you got an actual creepy slasher character, unlike Thanksgiving, which was this fake turkey puppet or whatever. Which, yeah, it looked awful. But this looks like it could be really good. I don't know. It could be a cult classic down the line, much like Trick or Treat is for Halloween.
Or it could be like Krampus.
Or Krampus for Christmas. Yeah, that's a good example too.
I know Machete was a fake trailer turned into a movie. I
Oh
did know
yeah, I
that.
forgot about that.
I did know that.
But yeah, have you seen Machete the movie?
I have not.
It's crazy that they took a character that was in Spy Kids and made like a hard R action movie off of it with the same actor. It is,
The Robert Rodriguez cinematic universe is wild.
yeah,
But yeah, the Thanksgiving the movie it gave me a bit of the creeps a little bit, and I'm holding off judgment, but at the same time, every time I see it, I'm like, there's actually some potential here. I'd be interested to see what the reactions are to this because this was produced by Spyglass, and they're also doing the Scream movies. So maybe they're going to go in a meta direction with this. I don't know. Machete is terrible, really over the top.
yeah, yeah.
But I think it looks interesting. I like Patrick Dempsey. He's going to be in the movie. Uh, so yeah, I have a bit of cautious optimism for it. Thanksgiving Day is always a busy day for movie theaters. I know I worked 3 Thanksgivings while working at a movie theater. It was like packed to the gills every time. It's that and Christmas Day are the 2 busiest days at a movie theater. Like I can confirm I was there. So along with Thanksgiving, if you want something for the whole family, maybe Wish will be more of your bag. Wish will follow a young girl named Asha who wishes on a star and gets a more direct answer than she bargained for when a troublemaking star comes down from the sky to join her. So this movie is being directed by Chris Buck and Fawn Veer Suntorn. Chris Buck had a heavy hand in Frozen, I believe.
Yeah, he directed. I know he directed Frozen and I think he directed Tarzan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's correct. So they've got some pretty good people behind this one. Jason, I bet Norrin Rad 89 will go see Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I think he will. He's a big horror guy.
Is I'm not familiar.
Yeah, he's a YouTuber. I think Jason knows him awfully well. He's does a lot of collabs on Mike from Did You See That's channel Z Talks, and like the horror genre is like his absolute favorite.
Okay, well, I'll definitely have to check him out. But as far as Wish goes, Jacob, what do you think?
Oh, I'm really excited to see Wish. You know, I'm a big Disney animation guy. Uh, Disney just turned 100 years old. They haven't had the best track record as of late, but I'm always excited to see a new animated Disney film. I I love the animation style in the trailer where it's like, yeah, they got CG animated characters, but they're blending it with 2D animated backgrounds. They're kind of doing their own stamp on kind of like the hybrid animation that's been kind of popular in animated movies these days, like with the Spider Verse movie and that new Ninja Turtles movie that came out earlier this year, and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I'm really enjoying more of a stylized look to it, and Disney's making it look more almost fantastical, like you're watching like a almost like a fairy tale pop up book in a sense, and I'm excited to see that on the big screen. I hope this is a real labor of love for the studio because I think the movie's inspired by the fact that it's the 100th anniversary of the Disney Studios. So I hope the film actually does something actually special. I do like the cast involved. Ariana DeBose, who was also in Spielberg's West Side Story, and if I'm not mistaken, she won an Oscar for it. Uh,
Hmm.
she's playing the princess character, and I know she can sing because she sang well in West Side Story. And Chris Pine's playing the villain, and we haven't had a legit Disney villain in a while, and it sounds like they're really going to do something special with that as well. I did hear a sneak peek of one of the songs, and it was actually the villain song. And I have a feeling the villain song might be the next We Don't Talk About Bruno because from what I heard, it's insanely catchy. And I'm excited to see the full context of that song and people's reaction to it and stuff. This one, I know Disney hadn't had the best track record. Their last animated film, Strange World, was a misfire,
Mm.
but I have a lot of hope that Wish is going to be a great movie. And I think of all the movies coming out in November, this is the one I'm most excited to see.
Well, for many, many, many reasons that have been well documented, Disney has not been having the best year, so they really need a hit on their hands. Jason's back. Wish is coming out already. I've seen like one teaser trailer. That's true. I haven't seen very much in the way of marketing for this.
Yeah, well, I think I've seen more marketing for Wish than I did Strange World, so you got to give it some credit. Like Strange World was hardly marketed.
Yeah, it's
That film was like dead in the water.
very, very odd, but with many factors, again, well documented factors, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But out of all the movies we're going to talk about tonight, this is the one that I'm looking forward to the most. Napoleon, directed by Ridley Scott, starring Joaquin Phoenix. If that does not excite you, then nothing will. The film takes a personal look at Napoleon Bonaparte's origins and his swift, ruthless climb to emperor, viewed through the prism of his addictive and often volatile relationship with his wife and one true love, Josephine. So, yeah, Ridley Scott is very good at what he does. Blade Runner, The Martian, Alien, I could go on. Joaquin Phoenix is very good at what he does. Vanessa Kirby is very good at what she does. The cast includes guys like Rupert Everett as well. So, like, if we were doing rankings, it's an easy 5 out of 5 for me. I am so looking forward to this movie very much.
Yeah, I think this movie has a lot of potential. I do like a lot of Ridley Scott's movies. Uh, he's not the most consistent director in my opinion. He's had a lot of duds, like his last film, House of Gucci. I thought was a disappointment. Uh, between the weird way of telling the story and Jared Leto's very bizarre performance, which I don't understand that one, but Jared Leto's bad Mario impression. but
We we
I
don't we don't talk about that.
but yeah, I think Ridley Scott has some good historical epics. He, for the most part, has had a good track record with those. I mean, Gladiator's great. Kingdom of Heaven, the director's cut is awesome, and I didn't love the Last Duel, but it still had some really good moments in it. I like the filmmaking, and you get to the Last Duel, and it had a really good payoff. Uh, this one, I think it's going to be more straightforward, maybe, and I'm excited to see. I'm surprised they haven't really done a big blown Napoleon movie because Napoleon was such an interesting figure in history, and I think Ridley Scott can pull that off, especially with Walking Phoenix playing playing the guy because like he's such a terrific actor. He transforms into every character that he's in, and I'm excited to see what he'll do as Napoleon. I don't think I'm as excited to see it as you are, Ryan, but I do think it'll be a good movie.
Right? Even Jason's excited to see it. I agree. I'm seeing this one.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, just the size and the scale. I'm sure things will be upped for dramatic effect, but I mean, with a life like Napoleon had, I mean, I'm sure there will be embellishes, but at the same time, I mean, the dude, like, you look into anything about him, like I've watched several videos about him on YouTube and in other places. The dude had just a fascinating life, like oversimplified. I don't know if you've heard of the channel Oversimplified, Jacob, but
not
the uh,
sure.
the they basically do history videos. They did a big two-parter, 2 or 3 parter on Napoleon's life, and it is genuinely like fascinating stuff, like all the things that he went through. But I mean, clearly evil guy, but just fascinating at the same time. So I'm very much looking forward to that. But let's wrap things up with a Netflix movie. And technically, this is coming to Netflix on December 20th. However, it is also coming to select theaters in November. Maestro. This love story chronicles the lifelong relationship of conductor composer Leonard Bernstein and actress Felicia Monteligre Cohen Bernstein. So this is not only starring Bradley Cooper, but also is being written and directed by him. So that is a very interesting development. I tend to like Bradley Cooper in most of the things that he is in. The guy is insanely talented. And from everything that I've seen with Maestro, it's looking very good. I'd be lying if I said I knew much about Leonard Bernstein beyond the fact that he composed the music for West Side Story, among many other film scores like On the Waterfront. But I think that this movie will do a pretty good job. I mean, it's a Netflix movie, so they're not lacking in the way of a budget. So I feel like it's going to be a rather lengthy biopic. It's looking like it's going to get some Oscar buzz. I mean, looking at the poster, it got a lot of love at New York Film Festival and at Cannes, so that's a big deal to some. But Jacob, what you think?
Yeah, I actually did not watch this trailer until before we went live. Obviously, I heard about the buzz this movie got, particularly with Bradley Cooper's performance. I've heard he's really good in the film. I didn't realize until tonight that he was directing the film, and he actually directed another movie that came out several years ago. A little movie you may have heard of called A Star Is Born, starring a very independent singer named Lady Gaga. And that movie was fantastic, especially the
Indeed.
soundtrack. I'm excited to see Bradley Cooper direct another music related movie. I don't know much about Leonard Bernstein, although, like you said, Ryan, I am somewhat familiar with him because West Side Story. He did a great job with the music on that movie. So I think it's going to be fascinating. Like music biopics tend to be a genre that I get tired of because I feel like a lot of them it's like the same old generic movie over and over again. But it looks like the filmmaking is going to stand out, the performances are going to stand out, and I think the love story I think in this one is going to stand out too, and how it factors into things. So I think Maestro has a lot of great potential, and I don't know where it's going to fall in the Oscar race. I haven't seen enough movies this year to really think what's going to be nominated for Best Picture and stuff, but there's a very clear, good chance that it could be, considering the buzz that it's already had. So yeah, I hope this one turns out good.
I hope so as well. If for nothing else, because of Bradley Cooper, because he, like I said, he rocks at pretty much anything that he is involved with. I hope it's better than Tar. Yeah, I mean, I like that movie fine, but a lot of that movie is just conversations about how the main character Tar was like, "Oh, that whole thing, that's not going to come back to bite me in the ass," until it bites her in the ass.
Yeah, I never saw Tar, but even seeing the trailer, I'm like, this looks super pretentious. I don't really care to watch that movie, and
I
yeah, the
mean, I
reviews for that movie was all over the place.
I liked it. I didn't love it, but Kate Blanchett was predictably fantastic. She carried the movie and made it worth it. But yeah, that's the November preview. There are more than a few movies I'm looking forward to. Like I said, Thanksgiving Day is usually the one of, if not the busiest day for a movie theater. I can confirm. Like I said, I worked 3 Thanksgivings at a movie theater, packed solid. That's all I will say. But I think there are a lot of good options this month, and I'm hoping for the best.
Yeah, hopefully there'll be some successful movies that are coming out this month.
But instead of just this month, what is a movie that you all watching are looking forward to for the rest of the year? Comment below in the live chat or in the replay later. I'd like to hear what you have to say. But Jacob, I'm glad the eye surgery went well. I'm glad that you're back. I'm grateful to do this with you every Wednesday. Tell the people where they can find you and what you're up to.
Well, they can find me on Letterboxd, Twitter, and Facebook. Of course, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Currently doing movie reviews and live streams and other things. Uh, just the other day, I uploaded my review of Jeepers Creepers 2. That's like a last minute Halloween review. I got 2 other reviews I plan on uploading later this week, including my thoughts on uh, Ahsoka, the series, the new Star Wars series on Disney Plus, along with my celebrating Disney review of Meet the Robinsons, kind of a hidden gem Disney film from the mid 2000s. And then there's other things coming up live stream wise. We'll do a discussing DreamWorks later this month with Ryan, and Henry Mockingbird is going to join us. We'll be covering Kung Fu Panda at some point. And then by the end of the month, I'll do the next reacting to hot takes with Henry Mockingbird. I think it's going to be an interesting one. I can't wait for you guys to check it out as well. Feel free to head over to my channel and subscribe if you want.
Jeremiah, that's what the notification bell is for. But happy to see you. Good to see you coming in at
And
the
you can
end.
always
But
watch the replay.
yeah, I was just about to say you can watch the replay later. Spoiler alert: I'm looking forward to Napoleon. But thank you, Jeremiah, and thank you to all of you for watching. Like I said jokingly, I'm almost at 400 subscribers, which is a number that I didn't think was even
That is
possible.
that is awesome.
I want to thank you all for checking out Scary Mania 4. If you watched one video, that's great. If you checked out all of them, that's just as good, if not better. I thank you all so much. It was easily one of the more successful series of Scary Mania that I've done on this channel, so I cannot thank you all enough. So thank you for that. The month of November on this channel will be Scorsese month. Going to be reviewing The King of Comedy, Casino, The Departed, and The Wolf of Wall Street. I'll be joined in reviewing The Departed by Matt Wyatt, 1/3 of the Small Talk podcast on this channel, and then I will be joined by Jacob Collins from 3D Movie Cinema to talk about The Wolf of Wall Street.
I
So
should
yeah,
have known he would join you on that film. That's like a Jacob Collins type movie right
he
there.
he volunteered. Like he called dibs. He called dibs on Wolf of Wall Street. I'm like, it's yours. You can have it. But yeah, that's going to be throughout the month of November. The King of Comedy review will be dropping this coming Friday, so stay tuned for that. And Life in the Movies every Wednesday, Small Talk every Thursday. Jeremiah, sounds good, and congratulations on approaching 400. Keep going, keep growing. Oh, Scorsese month sounds awesome. Cheers. See you next time. Thank you for stopping by, Jeremiah. You're you're one of the good ones. But yeah, if you did like this stream, leave a like, subscribe, bell for notifications, let you know when the channel is live or when a new upload hits. I would like to get to 400 subscribers by the end of the year. I am so close I can taste it. But Jacob Martin, my name is Ryan Cam. We will see you all in the next one. You all have a good night.
Good night.